We do have to talk about the severe weather we saw yesterday. We may be in for more this afternoon, but not likely as severe. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Drew Carney.
And I'm Corey Rose. Severe storms rolled through the metro area yesterday. They brought everything from hail to tornado funnels. Frenton Alvarez sent us this video of a funnel cloud near Chatfield State Park. And then in Castle Rock, Gene Parent shared these pictures of another funnel spotted in the area. The storms also dropped tons of hail, sending people scrambling to protect their cars. In some spots, so much hail piled up, people had to shovel it out of their driveways.
Colorado has a reputation, of course, for severe hailstorms and hail damage this time of the year. With that in mind, we bring in 9 News meteorologist Jaden Knowles. He's here to talk more about that. Jaden, bottom line question, what does our hail outlook look like here over the next few months?
Well, you know, we are in severe weather season, Drew, so I'm going to break down all that information for you. But, I mean, just talking about yesterday, you guys mentioned it just a little bit. It was a crazy day. I was here until the afternoon hours with Corey Reppenhagen tracking these storms. We saw hail, of course, accumulating hail, damaging winds, and, of course, those funnel clouds. And a lot of people taking their phones out and capturing it all on video. But overall, I know a lot of viewers are waking up this morning and saying, you know, I've lived in Colorado all my life, but why in the world does hail love Colorado so much? So we're going to break that information down for you. If you take a look at your screen, you can see yesterday's storms were another reminder that Colorado sits in the middle of what's known as Hail Alley, which is a region stretching from eastern Colorado into Wyoming and Nebraska that sees some of the highest hail frequencies in the nation. Now, one reason is geography, of course. The Rocky Mountains help the thunderstorms develop by forcing air upward, while the plains to the east provide warm, unstable air that fuels those storms. Now, Colorado also sits at a higher elevation than most states. That means hail doesn't have as far to fall before reaching the ground, giving it less time to melt compared to places at lower elevations. That's one reason Colorado can see larger hailstones survive all the way to the surface. And when strong spring and early summer storms develop along the Front Range, the setup can be ideal for damaging hail. Now, the Denver metro and communities along the I-25 corridor are especially vulnerable because storms often form near the mountains before moving east across heavily populated areas. Now, June is actually one of Colorado's busiest months, especially when it comes to hail. And yesterday's storms are just a reminder that we're heading into the peak of severe weather season. Live in Denver, Jaden Knowles for 9 News.
Thank you, Jaden, for that. Of course, after yesterday's hail, a lot of people are going to be taking a closer look at their homes. So here's the deal. A lot of homes we know saw damage yesterday. You should definitely be checking your roof, your windows, your car, even your car tires. If you do find damage, take photos and then cover any broken windows or holes to prevent more problems. Also, call your insurance company as soon as you can. You should also watch out for roofing scams. Officials say after big storms like we saw yesterday, out-of-town contractors often move in looking for that quick business. So experts say stick with local companies, ask them for references, and don't make a final payment until all the work is done and inspected.
Katie's joining us now. Sounds like we have another chance for more hail today, just maybe not as large and widespread.
Absolutely. So thunderstorms in the forecast once again, but it's a lower risk of that large damaging hail. We do still have strong storm potentials right around 1 to 5 o'clock this afternoon. So let's break it down for you. This morning, we do have a marginal risk for the I-25 corridor for the afternoon hours of seeing a few strong to even severe warned thunderstorms. This morning, it is quiet, 60 degrees. For the first half of the day, we'll be nice and dry. Calmer. We have higher humidity and some rain that fell across the far eastern plains, but the flood advisory that was in place near Yuma with some of that heavy rain late last night and early this morning, that has expired. So no advisories to tell you about on this Tuesday, June 1st to begin. But late day thunderstorms in the forecast once again. The hail threat primarily to the east of the Denver area, but we could still see some small hail associated with those supercell thunderstorms that we will be tracking later on this afternoon. That potential, as Jaden was mentioning, there's just moisture, instability, we get the heat of the day, and our severe thunderstorm risk. Yesterday, if you remember this map, I was showing you we were under a yellow, that is a level 2 risk, a slight one today. It's lower, so but still all areas in green under a marginal potential of seeing some of those strong thunderstorms capable of producing brief heavy downpours, gusty winds. They'll be limited in duration, coverage, and intensity, but still with us. So here's the timing. The mountains this morning, it's nice and mild. Sunny skies off to our west. Building clouds as we get into about 1 o'clock this afternoon. So spots over the I-70 drive, Rocky Mountain National Park, our northern Front Range foothills and high country. And then just to the west of Denver, this is right by 1, between 3 and 6 o'clock downtown to the airport, we could even see a potential ground stop again out at Denver International Airport. Those gusty outflow winds. These cells will be just isolated to scattered in nature before we introduce some warmer and drier conditions as we get into the end of the week. Brianna?
Katie, thank you so much. We do have our first crash of the morning happening along I-25. This is all the way up in Fort Collins near the Wellington area. Northbound I-25 near Cleveland Avenue. You can see that right shoulder is partially blocked. That right lane also blocked with crews there on scene. So everyone's just having to kind of squeeze and merge to that left lane if you are trying to head out the door. Southbound I-25, we are not seeing any issues. It's just that right lane for anyone taking northbound I-25. Unclear how many vehicles were involved. We are going to make some calls for you guys, and hopefully we can get more information from officials. I do want to switch things over to our main maps because we do have another crash that we are tracking. This is all happening up in the Greeley area. For anyone taking northbound Highway 85 at Justin Avenue, I'm not seeing any northbound delays at the moment. You still have the green light if you are heading to Greeley, but keep in mind you are going to see this crash that just popped up within the last 5 minutes.
All right, thank you, Brianna. This morning, the Boulder community is marking the victims of last year's Pearl Street attack with a new memorial. A stone marker now stands in front of the Boulder County Historic Courthouse. It was 1 year ago yesterday when a man firebombed a group of people who were walking to raise awareness about Israeli hostages held by Hamas. The attack killed Karen Diamond, a woman in her 80s. We also know 12 others were injured. The new stone marker has the date of the attack etched in both English and Hebrew. The county says it plans to build a remembrance garden there as well.
In the Jewish religion, one of the traditions that we have is to take a stone and to put it on a grave to remember and to say, I've been here and I remember. And so yesterday I took a stone and put it on that plaque, and so did other people, and it was really meaningful.
The memorial, by the way, will be more formally unveiled this weekend at the start of the Boulder Jewish Festival. The man convicted of carrying out the attack is going to spend the rest of his life in prison. In other local news this morning, a former town councilor from Mountain View is behind bars this morning. He was convicted of assault and illegal use of a firearm that stems from a 2024 shooting. Brian Metz says he slipped while moving his gun from a truck holster to his hip holster while confronting a pair of teens outside of his property. Metz had been charged with second-degree assault, but the jury convicted him of a lesser misdemeanor charge of third-degree assault. He was also convicted of felony illegal discharge of a firearm. His attorneys argue the resulting conviction doesn't add up.
This verdict makes no sense to us. While we respect it, we feel that there are some significant legal questions.
He was found not guilty of recklessly discharging the firearm, but then found guilty of recklessly discharging the firearm in a separate count. So the elements are the same in terms of recklessness. So we're having a hard time finding that those are compatible.
Metz is due back in court June 15th for sentencing. He could face up to 3 years in prison. This morning, we are working to learn more about the driver involved in a deadly crash on Monday. This happened in Highlands Ranch off of Wildcat Parkway. Deputies say a pickup truck veered off the road and hit 3 pedestrians. One of them died. Courtney Yoon is covering this story for us this morning. She is live in that area. So, Courtney, we understand about a dozen people saw that crash happen.
Yes, that's right, Corey and Drew. A lot of people saw this crash happen right here on this main thoroughfare that cuts through these neighborhoods here. So the Douglas County Sheriff's Office is calling this a hit and run. One of those witnesses actually followed that driver until deputies could make an arrest. Now investigators are trying to track down more information about what led up to this crash. So take a look at this photo here. This is a picture of the truck involved in that crash. Officials say 3 pedestrians were headed eastbound on the sidewalk along Wildcat Reserve Parkway near Willowbridge Way when they were hit by that truck. 1 person died, 2 others were injured and sent to the hospital. This all happened around 10:30 yesterday morning. Right now, officials say they're not sure if this crash was intentional, reckless, impaired, or distracted driving. The sheriff's office is looking for dash cam, doorbell, and surveillance camera footage showing that blue truck. So deputies told us they're looking for any information about this car, this vehicle. They say even if it seems trivial to you, it may be important to their investigation. And deputies would also like to speak to any witnesses who saw the driver's behavior before or what happened after the crash. Live in Highlands Ranch, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
Courtney, thank you. Staying in Douglas County now, and a heads up for parents. The Douglas County Sheriff wants to share a warning about e-motorcycles. And just a heads up, the video we are about to show you may be difficult to watch. All of this comes after a teen riding one of them was hit by a car. Here you can see the 15-year-old rider getting hit right there while trying to make a left turn. The teen does get up and walk back toward the bike. It is not clear if the rider had any injuries or whether the car even stayed there on the scene. But the sheriff said these e-motorbikes are not street legal. Oftentimes, young riders don't understand the traffic laws or the risks. The Summit County Sheriff's Office says a car explosion at a trailhead near Dillon
was not a crime. They say the car exploded at the Straight Creek trailhead back in early March. After firefighters put out the fire, they found 51-year-old William Bush dead inside the car. Deputies say they found no indication that someone intentionally killed him. Federal investigators with the ATF also helped with that investigation.
Tomorrow, Westminster will test its emergency alert system. It's going to be sending them out through wireless emergency alerts that ping phones in certain areas and its local lookout alert system. You do have to sign up for that through lookoutalert.co. The system-wide test will happen in Westminster, Broomfield, Jefferson County, and Clear Creek County. Alerts will start going out in the morning.
The agency building Colorado's inner-city passenger rail line wants to create a special station at the Broncos' new stadium, but the final approval for that will be in the hands of voters. The rail from Denver to Fort Collins is already funded, but everything south of that and special event stops need voter approval. Officials say public dollars would cover the platform and rail infrastructure for the stadium stop, which would cost about $5 million. The Broncos would handle any sort of additional amenities. The Front Range Passenger Rail District is briefing Denver City Council on this proposal this week, but ultimately, if there's any sort of vote to approve this, that would go to voters. Speaking of the Broncos, organized team activities start today. This is the first chance for coaches to see this year's squad together on the field. That includes the new rookies and the new free agent additions. Third-year quarterback Bo Nix not expected to do much here as he's still recovering from those ankle surgeries.